Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 10, and we're going to be talking about Negan in the Here's Negan episode because the recent trailer just dropped, and we're going to go, and it gave us a lot of stuff about Negan, so we're going to go through the Negan stuff, and then as well as the prior information that we got about Negan in the previous in production trailer where we saw Negan and Lucille. So we're going to be talking a lot about Negan and what we can expect for his Here's Negan episode. We'll talk a little bit about the comic book also, like the issue, the Here's Negan book, because that's what it's based on, obviously. We're not going to talk about it too much, though, because the show is a lot different, and I think the show is doing some things differently. That being said, just in case there's somebody who doesn't want to know anything about the comic book if they're planning to read it, I totally understand that, so I just want to clarify that and give a spoiler warning. But other than that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and break down everything we know about the Here's Negan episode. So before I do get into that, obviously, if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to subscribe. We have a lot of Walking Dead content coming up. We're about a month away from the premiere, so I'm very excited. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and read the synopsis first for the episode, the title and the synopsis. So again, obviously the title is Here's Negan, and it says Carol takes Negan on a journey, hoping to minimize the increasing tension. Negan reflects on the events that led him to this point and comes to a conclusion about his future. So the tension obviously is between Maggie and Negan, or I'm sure it's going to be like, you know, the community dealing with it, you know, the situation between them and not knowing how to handle it. And I think Carol's gonna probably take Negan out. Well, we know Carol's gonna take Negan out, but she's probably gonna take him out because she was the one who released him. And yeah, again, that tension between Negan and Maggie, and she wants to ease it. And yeah, this is interesting. They're coming to a conclusion about his future. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Like towards the end of the video, because that definitely makes it seem like there's some sort of bookend. But I don't think this is going to be Negan's last episode. I mean, I would be super shocked. I don't think so, especially since there's only one more season left. I'm sure they'll bring Negan back for the finale, or the final season. But that Negan reflecting, we can actually see that in the trailer. So let's go ahead and take a look. We can see him sitting here. And this is actually, they released a couple weeks ago, the Here's Negan table read, and it's pretty much on point. You can see Negan sitting here, and he looks over. Now, in the table read, it said he looks over and like it only shows his jacket. But I guess in the actual episode, he's seeing himself, like his older version. So maybe he's hallucinating. And this looks to be like, you know, the start of the flashback. So it looks like Carol's going to take Negan out. And then he's probably going to be sitting inside of this cabin and he's reflecting on his past. And us seeing the flashbacks is Negan's, you know, reflecting on himself. So this is something else we see in the trailer also. We see Negan struggling with this walker. And then Lucille comes and shoots the walker off of him. And this is really cool. This is a pretty cool change from the comic book. So this is going to be the first thing we talk about from the comic book. That's why I wanted to give that spoiler warning. But the comic book is a little bit different. So Lucille actually doesn't survive. She doesn't go into the apocalypse. Like, she doesn't deal with it. Now, both in the show and the comic, she has cancer. You can see that with the wig that she's wearing, and then also in the table read, they mentioned that she was taking medicine for chemotherapy. So because of that, we know that she does have cancer, but in the comic book, she dies pretty much right away before Negan sees the first walker. Like, Negan doesn't really even know what's happening until, like, it's kind of similar to the beginning of the show with Rick and Shane. When Shane doesn't really fully understand exactly what's happening. He's in the hospital bed with Rick, and then he sees all the walkers, then he shuts the door. Same thing kind of happens with Negan and Lucille, but I'm pretty sure in the comic book, Lucille actually turns into a walker, and Negan has to put her down. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the show did take a different route with it, and Lucille is alive, and she is involved in the apocalypse. And I actually think this is pretty cool, seeing Lucille involved in the zombie apocalypse. Also, in the table read, we know that Negan is sort of scared of killing walkers. Not really scared, but he said himself that he doesn't want to get used to it. So that's why this scene definitely makes sense after reading that table read, because he's struggling with this walker, and then Lucille just comes and shoots the walker real quick. Another thing we know about the Here's Negan episode, so I'm not sure if this is accurate or it was a mistake, but in the table read, the flashback apparently begins in some basement. There's like a generator and Negan and Lucille are, hanging out in this basement, surviving. But for some reason, it says 12 years earlier. Now, I don't know what I'm missing here. When it said 12 years earlier, I thought that we were going way back, like before the apocalypse even started. But no, in the table read, there's the apocalypse is going on because you can hear walkers outside. So I don't know why it's 12 years unless I'm missing something. I always thought that it was 10 years, into the apocalypse right now. But hopefully we find out why it says 12 years. But it does seem like you're going to be getting out of the basement because of that scene that we had between Negan and Lucille outside. We also have this scene that I want to talk a little bit about. We have this guy standing right here. There is somebody who is tied up. I don't know if that's Negan. We'll talk about that in a second. But this guy and a friend of him, we also do see him in the table read right here in the top right corner. So it looks like he's going to be playing a savior. I don't know the guy in the top left, if he's also playing a savior or what. He's a brand new character as far as I know. So we do know that guy is going to be playing a savior. So this is definitely, pretty early, I think, in the apocalypse. I don't know if this guy is supposed to be like a Negan type person and then Negan takes over, because that sort of happens in the comics as well. Like they run into a group who has a leader and then Negan, shows his dominance and takes over being a leader. We actually do get to see Negan, pretty early, or like, classic Negan look right here. He has a gun and he's in that same location. So that's what I meant. Like, I don't know if the guy who's tied up is Negan or what. But they did a great job with Negan. He definitely looks a lot younger. And so that's why I'm kind of thinking that this guy is probably like the current Negan of the Saviors or whatever there is for the Saviors, and then Negan comes and takes over. So seeing Negan become Negan, I think, is going to be really interesting, especially since they're setting, the idea that Negan doesn't really want to kill walkers and stuff like that. So we're going to really see that change. I mean, look at him here fighting this walker. He can barely fight the walker. He's wearing goggles. Again, on the table read, he says he doesn't want to get used to it. So there's going to be a big change with Negan, so that's going to be really interesting to see. So another thing I want to talk about was, so it looks like we're going to be seeing the Saviors, obviously, like the early Saviors, which I think is going to be pretty cool. I mean, kind of crazy to think about that we saw the Saviors back in season 6 and we're still seeing them in season 10. Like, they have been on the show for so long. But anyways, I know a lot of people are wondering if we're going to see Dwight or Simon. I think it'll be great if we do. I don't know if we're going to see them, though. They haven't announced anything. I mean, I feel like if we were going to see them, they would announce it. Because they announced the Here's Negan episode. So what's the point of hiding that? I mean, unless they really want it to be a surprise. But as far as I know, they haven't said anything. I wouldn't really bet on it, but I think it'll be pretty cool. But we'll see. We also have this from the trailer, which I want to talk about. Negan is creating Lucille here. As you can see, he has a bat. He's putting some barbed wire around it. That is also something we do see in the trailer also. Excuse me, not in the trailer. Oh, in the trailer, yeah. But that is something we do see in the comic book as well. So this is probably happening like after something happens to Lucille. I mean, I'm assuming something's going to happen to Lucille, which is going to be like the change in Negan. Because before he wasn't really... bad. He wasn't even killing walkers, so I think something's gonna happen to Lucille, which is gonna cause that change. Interested in seeing what's it gonna be. Like, is she gonna end up dying from her sickness, or is it a walker, or is it a human villain? It could really be anything, because all three of those things could play a big part into Negan becoming who he is. Like, if she ends up dying because she's sick, she would probably turn into a walker, which Negan would be one of the early people to find out about. People turning into walkers no matter what. And if a walker kills her, that would make Negan like less afraid of the walkers, so he would be able to take down the walkers more easily. And then if a person kills her, obviously that would change Negan a lot, and completely change him into a different person. So it could really be any three of those. You guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you think is going to happen to Lucille? It does look like the show is going to change it up, so I really don't know. And then the next thing and the last thing I want to talk about was that synopsis where it said Negan is he comes to a conclusion about his future. What do you guys think that means? For me, I'm kind of thinking it means that Negan is probably going to go on his own way. I think he's going to be isolated for a long time. I don't think he's going to leave the show. I think he'll still be in season 11. But I think he's just going to take time to be by himself. But I think eventually he'll catch up with the group, especially since the Commonwealth is coming on the show. They're going to be a bigger threat, and I'm sure Negan will also run into them. But you guys let me know what you think about that. Definitely an interesting synopsis. But I don't think anything is going to happen to Negan. For me, it's hard to see Negan and Maggie ever being okay. And if the tension is getting that bad that, Carol has to take Negan away for a while, I really don't know how they're going to solve that, Because I'm sure Negan will apologize, but that's not going to do it. So we'll see what happens. You guys let me know what you think. But I think Negan is probably just going to be by himself for a while. But I'm sure he's still going to be, involved with the Commonwealth and stuff like that. But you guys let me know what you think. There you guys go. I want to talk about the Here's Negan episode and break it down, looking back at the comic book and all the trailers that we got. Really excited for this episode. It is the finale, so it's the final episode of season 10, the final episode. So we still got quite a ways to go. But I'm very excited. Again, you guys let me know what you think about the episode in the comments down below. As far as this video goes, I am going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. And for more Walking Dead videos, just be sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Please take care, and I'll see you guys soon.